Hello loves and happy Sunday to you. So today is the grunge factor. If you didn't see the last grunge factor, it's where I am going to bring to you once a month creating grunge and grungy like pieces with texture and those kinds of things, and maybe giving you some new ideas for texture in your own work. So today is that day. So all the stencils that I use today will be on sale, and I think that's all I have to tell you right now. Okay, that's pretty simple. All the supplies and the links will be listed in the YouTube description box. Now to this. Okay, so this is an old piece, and as I was beginning to think about what I wanted to create for today, I saw this and I thought, you know what, I'm going to use this because it's got some texture already, and it was kind of grungy. Like there's a lot of texture that I'm going to kind of disrupt down here. But it's also got texture, and what I plan on using today is drywall tape. So you get drywall tape. This will last me like a lifetime, I think, but you can get it at the hardware store. And I'm going to use this dividing line as this texture up here and create with that. But what I've also, I hope you can see, I'm going to kind of tilt it up. This has texture in it, and this was done by drywall tape, where I just either pushed it into the paint or I pushed some gesso or some kind of paint through it, and then it leaves this texture. I've got it kind of all spread out all over. So what I've done so far on this piece, this is a 12 by 12 wood panel, is I put a light coat of gesso just to kind of push things back just a little bit for my own purposes, so that I can kind of see this a little bit more neutral. And then with this coming across here like this, I'm going to be putting this down with some matte gel or some super heavy gesso. Actually, what I think I'm going to use is I'm going to take my matte gel, and I think it was last week's video where I share a technique and I talked about matte gel and how it can make your paint thicker. I want a thicker paint for this piece. I want some thickness to go in this piece here to kind of put it down, but with some color like black or raw umber or something like that. And then, or I may just do gesso. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't quite figured out all of my plans. But I know that I will be using some matte gel to thicken up my paint, to do some skipping and things like that, because the paints in my bottles are pretty fluid. They're like a medium body, and I can get a better skipping effect with some matte gel. Plus, it kind of makes my paint a little bit transparent. And I have some fun collage papers out here that I think I'm going to throw in on this side a little bit. Kind of see exactly what I want to do here. But I kind of like this a bit obsessed. So I don't know, maybe I'll put that down here more and bring this over here so that would peek through. I don't know. That's kind of my thought. And then up here, I want this to be really different. And my word for this piece is wild and free. And last week I talked about Mary Oliver. Mary Oliver was our inspiration for last week, and I pulled one of her devotional cards or daily cards, and it said, "If you're dancing, you can break the rules." And I've been thinking about that a lot, just about being free and having that carefree attitude. And sometimes we can get really tight in our art, and I really want to kind of break the rules today. So this could be, it could be to you a mess, but to me, it's the practice of letting go. And the more we experiment in our art, the more we learn about what we like and what we don't like. So I'm also going to use a new stencil. I want to put some stenciling on this side, maybe all the way up. I'm going to have some stenciling up here too, because what I plan to do up here is make this real graphic, very different than this as far as like more black and white or more neutral, and then this is going to be really colorful. I've got my stencil hooked here. But I'm going to use this, but I'm going to put it on tissue paper and then put it down so that the kind of grungy background will show through. And I'm going to, of course, go over this, but I want it to be real graphic. And I'm not sure if I'm going to stencil this on, or I have my spray paint out and spray paint this, and then with this wet also stamp it onto another piece, you know, so I'll spray paint it and then I'll stamp it so that I get the reverse and use that for up here. I have a lot of plans for this piece. And then this one, and then, so the other stencils in this series, these are called the petals. And petals 1, 2, and 3, I think it is. But petal, this is, I think, petal 1. Petals 2 and petals 3. They're all so fun. Super fun, but they come in all the different sizes. In the 5x8s and also in the 9x12s. So nice big patterns too. So letting you know about that, and those will be available in the shop. And let's see, what else do I have planned? I have some other spray paint out because I want this kind of area down here to be somewhat graffiti-like. Not like all of it, but because I want to come back and really kind of drag my black or brown paint down, like kind of like a grungy wall, but like a splash of paint. And I have this orange out, but it felt really orange, and I'm a little unsure about it, so I brought out some burnt sienna because that's one of my favorite colors. It's within my own personal color palette that I love. I also have magenta, and then I have olive green and teal. And I am finding that if I mix my olive green and teal, I get this really pretty color. And so I may have a version of this color and both of these colors separate, along with white and black gesso and raw umber. That is a must for the grunge factor, raw umber. And then I may throw in a little bit of unbleached titanium just to kind of neutralize some things. So that is what I'm thinking right now. And I'm going to use like I said, I'm going to use my matte gel. As I'm talking this through, it's kind of making more sense to me now. I'm going to put my matte gel down first with this and then come back over it and add paint and add and kind of bring that up and kind of skip it and kind of do that kind of thing. I want to really disrupt the patterns that are in here. But having this texture below is so wonderful because that's the kind of texture I want in all of my pieces, and that those underlayers really give your work depth. So I mentioned stencils, tissue paper, collage paper paints, mediums. Okay, that's where I'm going. And if you've never tried drywall tape, it is really fun. It's super thin, but it gives you the best fun texture, and you can really do some, like you could do strips with it. You could do like a bunch in one corner. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it, and it goes down super, super easy. Okay, so those are my plans for today's grunge factor, and grunge is always good, always good. And I've been thinking about Mary Oliver's quote from last week's Sunday inspiration video, and I'll leave a link to all of the different videos that I've talked about up above. but she talks about when you're dancing, you can break the rules. And then she said, maybe the rules can be extended. And then maybe there are no rules. And I've been really like pondering that and writing about it because it really spoke to me. And that's one of the journeys of my art is to be more free. I'm naturally more of a rule follower and always afraid to break the rules. And so this has always been my work for forever. And so and my word for this year is release, which can also be freedom. And so it's really stuck with me. And so I want to do something outside of my comfort zone today. And that's always difficult, especially when you're doing it in front of hundreds of people. It's not so hard when you're in the privacy of your own journal or your studio. But that's where I want my art to go, is to be more free. At least in my perspective, free, and in my own heart and soul, free. And so that's what I'm going to be doing today, is expressing freedom through the grunge factor and just having fun. I hope that you get a chance to be free today in your whatever you're doing, and that maybe you can break the rules a little bit and play. Play is so very important to everything, to our relationships, to our well-being, to our art. Play is so fundamental to our growth. And I hope you have a chance to play this week, because I am going to play. All right, my loves, I hope your Sunday is restful and peaceful, and I hope that you always, always know that you are loved.